Good day everyone, welcome to my channel. If you are new here, please expect an informational topic and issues that will blow your mind. Not literally to blow your mind, but to impart you some useful knowledge, especially if you are an aspiring teacher or a teacher like me. I am Teacher Jen, and I would like to tell you that this channel is only for educational purposes. And that is why I'm expecting you to listen carefully, think critically, and also check my references to further gain knowledge. Today's discussion, we will be diving not to the fairy tale dimension, but to the real world of performance assessment. Our topic for today is the five characteristics of a good performance assessment. To begin, let us first define what the word characteristic means. According to Merriam and Oxford Dictionary, the word characteristic means a feature or quality belonging typically to a person, place, or thing and serving to identify it. A special quality or trait that makes a person, thing, or group different from others. And performance assessment means that this assessment measures how well students apply their knowledge, skills, and abilities to authentic problems. The key feature is that it requires the student to produce something such as a report, experiment, or performance which is scored against specific criteria. Now, let us look at the 5 characteristics of good performance assessment. The first is, it is authentic. That it is. It includes performance tasks that are meaningful and realistic. Performance assessment should present or require tasks that are realistic, real to the real world, and related to everyday life. As it involves an authentic task, it should convey its purpose and reflect its relevance to the students, their discipline, and the outside world as a whole. For example, in an entrepreneur class wherein one of the learning outcomes is the ability to develop a business plan, so instead of giving final exams to test students' knowledge of concepts, plan instead of principles and processes of developing a business plan, the student will be required to submit an actual business plan for putting up a new investment. This task will allow students to have hands-on experience in performing a task that is done in the actual or in a physical world. The performance is not just limited on the mind of the students, but it must be shown on how they are going to be applying it in a real-life situation. Second is, it provides opportunities for students to show both what they know and how well they can do what they know. So, performance assessment should achieve a balanced approach wherein it gives students opportunities to show their knowledge and skill competencies. Since the main goal of teaching and learning is for students' acquisition, application of knowledge and skills. Therefore, course assessment should help answer the questions. Do the students know it? How well can they use what they know? It is to determine whether the students have actually achieved their goal. For example, in a practical research 2 class, the teacher may require research output at the end of the course. Since this performance task will not only inform the teacher whether the students learn the different parts of a research paper, but also whether the students can conceptualize a good research paper, conduct review of related literature, apply appropriate data gathering procedure and analysis, and make valid interpretations and implication of the results. The main challenge is for the teacher to choose performance tasks that can measure both the competencies of knowing and applying and at most creating. In this particular characteristic, the teacher are trying to see how able the students are holistically by acquiring knowledge, applying the knowledge learned, and creating a new idea about the attained information. As another example, when we are in primary school, we learn how to write letters and words as our teacher taught us. As time goes by, we are now able to write words and sentences and paragraphs. So when we are promoted to a higher level, we are able to construct or create our own idea in writing through essays, poems, and many more. The third is, it allows students to be involved in the process of evaluating their own peers' performance. Performance assessment should allow students to be involved in the process of evaluating themselves and their peers or classmates. It should give students the opportunity for self-reflection or self-assessment, as well as to be involved or participate in evaluating their classmates' performance. Self-assessment allows students to make judgment about their learning process and the products of learning, track their progress, and identify the areas where to focus or improve. Peer assessment, on the other hand, allows students to give constructive feedback about the performance of their classmates or groupmates, which can be used to revise or improve their work. Both assessments require that scoring or grading is based on the criteria agreed upon by the teacher and by the students. The use of a rubric can facilitate self-assessment and peer assessment. And I had experienced it during my high school years. The good thing in this characteristic is that we are able to improve ourselves not just only by our teacher's opinion, but also from our classmates, may it be positive or negative. It is to help us perform better from the previous. In this part, we will realize that there are still things that he is lacking or we are lacking and needed an improvement to be better or practically to get higher grades. The fourth characteristics, it assesses more complex skills. Unlike traditional tests that usually assess a single skill and require simple tasks such as remembering or recalling of concepts, performance assessment usually gives higher order cognitive skills. It is to apply the knowledge learned to solve realistic and meaningful problems. As such, performance assessment allows students to get involved in more challenging activities that require various skills such as planning, critical thinking, decision-making, problem-solving, communication, and creative skills. For example, in giving a final exams instead, to assess students, the teacher in a marketing class, the teacher may require the students to conduct a marketing and market research, come up with a marketing strategy, or conduct an actual marketing for a product of their choice. These performance tasks not only assess students' knowledge of principles and processes in marketing, but also tap their creativity, planning skills, collaborative skills, communication skills, and research skills. So to further understand this is the same as making short films as a final examination of the students. The student must first think or create an idea of a certain topic, plan how to execute, research for additional factual information, collaborate and communicate about the execution, perform the plan with the video recorded, edit the video being recorded, and submit. And so, this fourth characteristic of performance assessment is responsible of addressing how the student able to improve holistically. And finally, the last characteristic of a good performance assessment. It explains the task, required elements, and scoring criteria to the students before the start of the activity and the assessment. At the start of the class, it is important that the requirements of the subject are presented and explained to the students. These include the required tasks, activities or projects, the expected quality and level performance or output, the criteria to be included for assessment, and the rubric to be used. Ideally, students should be involved or participate in the whole assessment process from the very beginning by providing them assessment options, getting them involved in discussions and decision making on performance standards and criteria, allowing them to have an opportunity to give feedback on teacher-made rubrics and to revise them, and training them on how to apply rubric for self and peer assessment. In these particular characteristics, students are able now to assess, to judge, to suggest, and create their own assessment, because they already knew what are the things they needed to improve. It also shows us that students are really part of the assessment, not just being assessed, but they are already able to know what are the things that needed to be assessed on themselves. That's all for today. Thank you for listening. So if you want to acquire more information and updated to everyday's edition, please support my channel through like, share, and subscribe.